you work your job, whether it's a 9 to 5 or it's modeling, you're not just there to take a paycheck and go home. You are there because you are supposed to meet all the people you work with. Who can I serve today? Who can I relate to today? Like, who can I connect with? It really just shifts your perspective on everything.
What's up, Alison?
Thanks for having me on the show. I'm so excited. We're reunited, and oh my gosh, thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
I am so excited to have you here. For those that don't know, Alison and I met on the Miss Florida pageant in 2020, the beginning of 2020.
I think it was earlier. I think it was 2019.
It was
January.
Yeah, it was January of 2020, not knowing what was going to happen. Yeah. We were competing in a pageant.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So I had never done a pageant before. It was my first and only pageant. It was an opportunity that presented itself, and I went full on in. And Alison was my roommate.
They're random roommates. And then we became besties.
And then we became besties. So for those people tuning in that don't know, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I moved to South Florida actually the year that I met you, right before the pageant, which is why I did Florida USA. So I'm originally from St. Louis, Missouri, and I'm a model and influencer. That is my main career, amongst other things, marketing, travel blog, kind of dip my toes in the water with lots of different endeavors. But those are my main two things: is content creation, social media, and modeling.
And speaking of that, what made you choose The Purpose-Driven Life by Rick Warren?
The Purpose-Driven Life I have read through 3 times. And It's actually a book that I gift people. I gift a lot of the girls that I mentor. I do a lot of one-on-one coaching and stuff like that. And it always turns into a deeper relationship. You know, when you're talking about someone who's wanting to grow their brand and grow their career, you have to start with your purpose. And why do you even want to do this in your first place? You know, a lot of people say the phrase, "What is your why?" And this is kind of what that book answers. But it's a very spiritual book. It's a Christian book, and it's kind of what is your purpose based off of God's purpose for your life, biblical principles. And it talks a lot about how, your passions in life are actually a gift from God. And you have certain desires and passions because that's what you're on earth to do. And that's why you feel so passionate about something. And, that's why I always encourage everybody, do what you're passionate about. Whatever that is, make that your career, make that your job, do that every day. What fuels your fire in the morning, because that's what you're meant to do. There's a reason why you're passionate about certain things. It's not because of vanity or anything like that. It's your divine purpose. And so this book talks a lot about that and how you can utilize those things to build a community and to reach other people and really just to be a light in the world and make a difference in the world through your purpose.
Yes.
It's a good book. I love it.
Yeah.
It's life-changing.
It is. There's a lot of principles that you can apply to your day in and day out. And there's a lot of reminders. It's like things that we kind of know, but then they're just constant little reminders of follow your passion, lead with purpose, release fear and doubt. Common principles that oftentimes we forget. And it's a nice reminder to stay on track and continue following our purpose. For me, something I truly admire about you is you live your life through passion and purpose. Like you are a walking example of this book.
Yeah.
And what I take from that is I remember us having a conversation in our hotel room and you were just like, I want to be a 5'3" runway model. And it wasn't like when it's going to happen, how it's going to happen. It's like, it's happening already. You were so in a state of clarity of that vision coming to life and you've done it.
Yeah.
So for me as an outsider, I mean, I'm 5'7", but I know the shifts you're making in the industry, walking runway models as a 5'3" model, creating the lane for other models of that height to be able to walk that path.
It's crazy. I mean, it really is something that hasn't been done before. And you saying that, it's like, wow, like look how far I've come just from then. But you're right. I knew that that's what I wanted to do. And it was something that was quite literally impossible at the time. I wasn't even allowed in a casting room. I was not even allowed to go to the casting. It says like 5'8" and under, don't come. My agency even said, we love you. You're one of our favorite models, but runway's just not for you. Like this industry is not for you. And, we know how it is and it's harsh and you're too short. You're not going to, you're better with print and other things. Like you have other strengths. Let's just focus on that. And I'm like, okay, like I appreciate the honesty, you know, I really do. I'm very close with my agency, by the way. Like they're everything but supportive, like all supportive to me. So, but that was the reality of the situation. It really was like an industry that was not for me, or anyone that is under 5'8".
Yeah.
And I had that clear vision of what I wanted to do. And I got made fun of a lot. People were like, why do you even want to do this? You know, people always use this phrase, go where you're appreciated. But I don't agree with that in most senses, because I'm not appreciated in the runway industry, and I never was. It's starting to be that way, but I wanted to go where it wasn't allowed and pave the way. And it just makes a big statement. You know, the industry is changing. The way that we look at fashion and beauty and everything is changing. And I just, you know, it's what I wanted to do. It's really like the only way to explain it is I just saw that vision and I wanted to do it. And it took me years, you know, years. I would go to castings. I was just telling you before we started filming, my first New York Fashion Week casting, I waited for 5 hours. I was super nervous. It's my first I fly all the way to New York to do this. And it's finally my turn. There's a room full of people watching. And I take not even one step, half a step. And they said, immediately no. Immediately no, sent me home. And I was like, wow. Oh my God, I'm embarrassed. Everyone's looking. And I was like, you know what? Like, this is what I want to do and I'm going to make it happen. And so then swim week comes by. I don't book swim week. So instead of sitting there sulking, I was like, I know this is what I want to do. I'm going to make it happen. So I went to all the swim week events. I showed up. I filmed all this content on social media. I filmed my runway walk. I was networking. I was, you know, not going to sit there and feel sorry for myself, but just make the most of it and, you know, try to meet as many people as I can. And then the next year going to swim week, I shifted my mentality to, instead of thinking, I hope I book shows, I was like, I am going to walk every single day. Like, I don't know what I'm going to have to do to get it, but I'm going to do it. And I worked my butt off for months and months and months. And that swim week, I booked my first one, 17 shows. Wow. I went from like not being in the casting to 17 shows. And it's, you know, that's what I wanted to do. That's what I really felt like called to do, is I need to be here. And now looking back, you know, just in a 2-year time frame, I've done, you know, countless swim week, New York Fashion Week. And now I'm coaching girls runway. I'm doing like big classes, coaching runway, teaching girls how they can be models, how they can do social media, how they can achieve their dreams essentially. And, you know, be able to live out their purpose. So this book like really showed me that this passion that I had and this desire to walk runway wasn't completely vain. It's not just, oh, I want to be a runway model because I want to be famous. It's like, this is what I feel called to do. And it's like literally impossible, but I'm going to do it.
And you've led with that passion. And as an outsider and then somebody that got to know you, it's been really beautiful to witness, because I'm somebody who didn't understand runway modeling, right? I don't come from that world.
Yeah.
So being able to converse with you and you letting me on insight, and as an outsider, I would think like, okay, those girls are just beautiful and they're walking. Like I didn't get the point of it, right? I'm just like, okay, hot girls walking, cool. Like, yeah, but like, okay, yeah. You know? And to see you take that stance and make it happen has just been so beautiful to witness the level of confidence and seeing what you had to overcome.
Yeah.
How have you been able to overcome all those no's that you were given?
It was the mentality shift, you know, and I'm also a very secure and confident person, you know. That's another thing I get asked all the time is, how do you deal with, you know, haters on social media in the comments? I genuinely don't care. And I don't care what people think of me. And I don't care that I was rejected at Fashion Week. Yeah, it was embarrassing because there were so many people there, but I kind of knew that that could happen, very well happen, and that they could, you know, call me out in front of everyone for being short and like not being a misfit in that kind of industry. So I knew that going into it. And I just don't care. I just kind of, honestly, I forced my way into the industry, and I knew I was the underdog. I knew that it was, you know, it's still something I struggle with. Even this past Fashion Week in September, it was a really big one for me, and I booked a really big show. And when I went to the fitting, I could kind of hear the designer and some of the other people there, like kind of whispering, like, oh, like, I don't know, like she's really short, beautiful, but where I don't know if they, you know, and I could hear them talking. And then when I put on the gown and I walked, they were like, oh, okay. Okay. And then they have me teaching the other girls in the show how to walk.
Wow.
So it's like, you know, it's still a struggle. It's still a struggle. I still, like, you know, people will say things, but I just don't care, you know?
Yeah.
I know that it's harder for me than someone who's 5'8" to do it, but I'm willing to go the extra length to make it happen. And now I have so much support on social media and like so much support from girls in the industry that want to do what I do, and that, you know, it sets the tone for other girls that it's possible for them to do it too, you know, because runway is something I wanted to do since I was a kid. Like I always watched the Victoria's Secret fashion show, and I would put on a fashion show of my house all the time. Like I always wanted to do it. It's just what I love to do. It's me, you know? And so I wanted to make it happen, and I did. And
you did.
And I'm loving it, you know? And it's just crazy how fast things start to just like, it's like a domino effect. It's like I get one show and then another and then another. And, you know, now it's to the point where sometimes I don't even have to go to the castings anymore. You know, before I couldn't even get in the door. Then I got in the door and I got made fun of. I was not allowed to walk. And then I finally like got on a show, and now it's like I can a lot of times just bypass that whole process and just book direct. So it's been a wild ride.
That's so powerful. What would you tell to anybody tuning in who's just like, I haven't been able to get my break yet, but I'm really passionate about this.
If you're passionate about it, then keep doing it. If you're, you know, it genuinely depends on your motive for things. Like, do you feel like this is really what you want to do? Like you're passionate about it because you want this, like this is what you want to do, and it's your dream.
Yeah.
But, or are you doing it to prove a point? Are you doing it to get clout on social media? What is your motive behind it? Your intention, and that's everything. If you genuinely, it's your passion, you really want to do it, then you'll do what it takes to make it happen. Yes. You know, you got to stop making excuses in your head about it. You know, I could have sat there and said, oh, well, this just isn't for me. I'm too short. I never would have booked a show. Yeah. And I mean, I got rejected over and over for years. And then once I got like one break, it's just like, all these things.
It just takes that one moment.
Yeah.
Was there ever a moment on stage where you tripped?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there was only one. I mean, I'm pretty solid. I got a pretty solid runway walk. And the reason for that is one, pageants. I had years and years of coaching, but runway walk is very, very different.
Okay.
And so I actually worked with my girl. She's in South Florida, Kay Cox. She's incredible. I worked with numerous runway coaches, but she said a lot of things to me that just like really clicked. But from doing pageants and being short, and then to going into runway lessons, being short, I learned from so many different people all of the little like body mechanics to break everything down to make myself look taller. And so I seriously would practice my runway walk every day. Every day I would put on my swimsuit, do my run walk, film it. Even when I didn't want to, I would do it at the gym. It's embarrassing. People are watching. I don't care. I really like wanted to make sure it was solid. So I got a pretty solid walk. I can walk and whatever. But there was one show at New York Fashion Week. I'm a size like 5 to 6 shoe. I have really small feet. And so the shoes never fit me. If I can't bring my own shoes and I have to wear their shoes, they're always at least 2 sizes too big. And so I had on these really big, they were like these Valentino, like the pumps where they're like the pointy closed toe. And you know, those shoes are like really hard to like walk in and get back in. So I'm like walking to try to like keep them on my feet and the runway. And on the way back, I actually stepped out of the shoe and I'm like, oh my God, like everybody knows. And then I was like, oh man, that was so embarrassing. And I went to watch the video back and you couldn't even tell at all. I played it off so good. But if you really look at my foot, I like step out of it and then I was like, trying to get it back in.
But you practiced your walk good enough that
you couldn't really tell. You couldn't really tell. It was kind of like a little Heidi Klum moment, but not as cool as her, obviously. But yeah, I think that was the only time. Maybe at New York Swim Week, the runway was really slippery, and I did a little one of these, like a little, but you couldn't really tell.
Yeah.
But last year's Swim Week, there's some bad wipeouts because when the runway is slick, what are you gonna do? Yeah. What are you gonna do? It's not the girl's fault, but there is some really bad. I mean, that's a liability at that point.
It is.
I'm always nervous for that, but.
It happens. There was one time I was performing on stage. Oh my goodness. We're in the middle of our concert. And halfway through the number, my heel breaks. Like I have no heel.
Stop.
I have no heel. So I'm dancing with the heel and then dancing without.
What did you do?
Heel. I finished the dance.
Did you kick it off or you just kept it on?
No, the heel was on the floor. Like it was completely off. The heel completely popped off. And so I was dancing just like on my forestarch, you know, like on my metatarsals. So I was putting all my body weight on the front. And I was terrified because I'm like, your girl is going to break her ankle on stage. But what are you going to do at that point? I'm not just going to walk off. We were halfway through the number. And so, so I finished the dance and I got off stage and I was just like, what the? What just happened? Like, you know, you rely on your shoes to support you and then it gives out on you and you're just like, and it's live. There's no like, oh, wait, time out. Can we redo that?
Redo the shot, yeah.
You know? So
do you have the video still?
I don't think there's a video of it, but I have my picture of me backstage.
I was gonna say, if there's a video, you should put that on TikTok.
Yeah, I don't think there's a video of it. But again, you can't tell because I finished dancing. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, so like on stage, the dancers are like, girl, your shoes off. I said, I know, but you got to figure it out. And I feel like that within professionals, I think even relating to the book of like when you follow your passion, that hunger and that drive overcompensates everything. Like you're not looking at the excuse like, oh, my heel broke. I'm just going to walk off stage. Like, no, I'm a professional and I have to get through it. And the crowd isn't going to be able to tell, but I almost twisted my ankle on stage, you know? So it's those cool moments. And now thankfully, you know, we can laugh about it. It could have been way worse. Yeah. But those are the moments we live for, you know, those that keep it spicy and keep us going.
And you got to stay humble. Like, you know, things aren't always going to go perfect. I've like done dumb stuff on the runway and I'm just like, oh my God, that was embarrassing.
It happens.
You just like laugh at it. You just can't take stuff too seriously all the time, you know? Like you do your best and at the end of the day, like you just gotta have fun and you know, just be relatable too. Like it's really not that deep.
It's not that deep.
And in the fashion world, I've seen some crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. Like at New York Fashion Week, I mean, it's a big deal. It is a big deal. I understand designers work their whole lives to be New York Fashion Week models too. But at the end of the day, it's a fashion show. It's not that deep, you know? Like there's just bigger things going on in the world to like, you don't need to make everything such a big deal, you know? I mean, I've seen some episodes backstage, all kinds of stuff. And, you know, at the end of the day, like you just gotta stay humble and have fun, connect with people, you know? It's not that serious.
What's your purpose?
There's a lot of them. I think my purpose all in all is, you know, serve God and connect with people and make a difference in people's lives. I think, you know, our society, especially in America, we live in the most fast-paced society in the world, and that's a fact. And so we start to become so self-centered because we work so much and it's like, I got to do that. I'm so busy. It's me, 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 me. And we forget that we were literally created to be in partnership with one another, to be in relationships with other people, you know, friendships, family, all kinds of different, you know, with your coworkers. And we forget that because our society has really twisted things to be so self-centered. And, you know, I'm so guilty of that. You know, I'm a really hard worker. And so I fall into that trap all the time where I'm like, I'm too busy. I got to do this. And it's like very self-focused. And like, yeah, you know, you got to take care of yourself. You got to love yourself and take care of yourself before you can take care of other people. Right. So, you know, there's some truth to that. But, you know, life is about community. And this book talks a lot about that. It really puts things into perspective. And, you know, the reason that you work your job, whether it's a 9 to 5 or it's modeling or it's dancing or, you know, doing TV, like anything, you're not just there to do your job and take a paycheck and go home. You are there because you are supposed to meet all the people you work with. You're supposed to give a message to those people around you. And at the end of the day, you're serving people, you're in community. And so this, you know, this book really puts things in perspective and it gives you a whole new light on everything you do. And so, you know, now after reading this, I'm not just going to work like, oh, I don't want to do this job today. I'm really tired of this. It's like, who can I serve today? Who can I relate to today? Like, who can I connect with? You know, it really just shifts your perspective on everything.
Yes, that was a mic drop right there. Like, yes. Literally. How have you been able to apply the lessons from this book?
It's just everyday life. It's the way it's just shifting the way you live your life. It really is. And it's changed my life in a lot of ways. My dad was actually the one who recommended this book, and the original one that I have, which is in St. Louis, was my mom's, and so I can see like all of her markings in it and stuff too, which is kind of fun. And I've always like keeps them on hand to give to people, friends, whoever I meet, whatever. But it's changed my perspective on life. I look at things a lot differently, and I think about things in what is my motive behind certain things? Like, am I wanting to do something because it's vain, or is it because I'm living out my purpose? I just said that like really like I'm living out my purpose, and how am I going to reach people? And that's part of the reason why I love coaching so much. I mentor a lot of girls that are, my peers, girls who are younger than me, people who are older that want to like kind of get a restart on their career, that maybe worked a 9-to-5 most of their life, and they always wanted to start a business and be an entrepreneur or do social media or any of the things, but they don't know how to start. And so I kind of start with those principles. I always ask, like, my first session with everyone is always, okay, what are your top 3 goals for this? And I'm like, and why do you want to do this? And a lot of people are like, well, I don't know. I want to, and I'm like, okay, so I want you to like, think about it. And then the next time we meet, like, I want to know the reason why. And that reason why behind everything changes the way that you do things, especially when you write it down. I always do. I'm sure you do vision boards.
Oh, yes, honey. I have mine at home.
The vision boards at the beginning of the year, I always, I do with all my friends. Like, we'll sit down and do it. And, you write down all your goals, everything you want to do. And then why do you want to do it? What is the motive behind it? And then that like is always in your subconscious. So then when you're going throughout like reaching your goals and the steps that it takes to get there and everyday life, you're subconsciously thinking about those things that you already wrote down and why you want to do it. And it puts purpose behind it.
Yes.
There's a bigger meaning to things. Life isn't about accomplishments, although accomplishments are great, and trophies and accolades and assets and money and all of the things that you can get from working hard. Those are all great things. But at the end of the day, when you die, you don't take any of that with you, and nobody's going to care. Nobody is going to care. What people remember is how you treated them,
how you made them feel,
how you make them feel. Yeah. And so it's really like, how are you connecting and relating with people and being an inspiration to those around you when you're carrying out those things, not just the end goal, but what is the purpose behind it? So that's really, this book changed my life a lot, thinking about that, but it's a bigger perspective on things. And I'm an Enneagram 3, which is an achiever. So I'm very much like, I like accolades. I have to get the achievement. That's why I did pageants for so long. And some of my friends were like, I would just get so distressed because I got first runner-up so many times. And I would just cry. And I'm like, oh, this is so much. This is like, I'm doing all this work for nothing. And my friends are like, well, don't you like pageants? I'm like, no. And they're like, well, why do you do it? I'm like, because I want to win. I want to win. And I never won. I didn't get the achievement. It drove me crazy. Like, I'm very much an Enneagram 3. Like, I like to check off a list and everything. And so, like, I got to shift my focus back into why am I even doing this in the first place? I'm very much someone who can get caught up in the achievements and getting the next thing. And, it's always the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. And it's like, I got to take a step and slow down and, why am I doing this? What is the reason behind this? And even just talking about it's a good reminder of, even just where I was a year ago. Things have really progressed and really taken off in my career. And it's looking back and like, all of the messages that I get from people saying like, I've loved watching your journey. You've been an inspiration to me. Like, I'm going to reach out to an agency. Like, you've really like made me feel like I can do it too. Because I try to make things relatable and share like my struggles in modeling.
And I really want to highlight what you just mentioned, because I remember us having a conversation and you were like, I am not stopping till I win. Like, I'm going to go for Miss Florida.
Like,
I'm going to go for Miss Missouri. And I remember you're like, I'm not getting married. I'm not doing anything. Because before they had all these rules.
I literally put off my wedding to keep competing, which in hindsight, there was a reason for that, because we ended up not being together and it didn't work out. So, thank God, everything happens for a reason. So maybe that's why I kept doing it. But now you can actually be married.
I know they've changed the rules. Yeah, they've uplifted the age and all those things. So they've changed it. But what I find interesting is like hearing you in that space 3 years ago of you were so focused here to now being in this open state of mind of allowing new possibilities to enter and another purpose for you to like really pursue is in my eyes is really beautiful, because sometimes we get laser focused on this
the
one
goal,
door,
the achievement.
There's just this one door, and there's like 20 other doors, but we're just so laser focused here that we're not giving access to the other doors to open for us to enter.
And another thing this book talks about too is your identity and not making the achievements your identity. And I think that's a very cultural thing that we do. And when that happens, I know a lot of girls that this happened to, where they worked their whole life to win a pageant, to go to Miss USA, and they finally get it. And then when it's over, they completely, like, don't know what to do. They go through a depression. They lose all sense of identity. I see it happen with athletes all the time. Yeah. Because sometimes we put our identity in the things that we do and the achievement and the goals, and that's not who we are. Those are what we do. Maybe that's part of our purpose, but that's not who you are, you know? And I believe, as a Christian, I believe my identity is in Christ. And there's, nothing can shake me up in a way where I feel like I lose myself, because I have that firm foundation, that identity in Christ, and I'm very like grounded and planted in that. Yes. It's not your accolades. It's not all the things that I do. It's not my career. It's not modeling. All those things are going to fade away eventually. Yes. They're part of my story. They're part of what I do, but they're not me. It's not the end all be all. It's not who I am. My identity is Christ, and like who I was created to be, like as a person. It's your character, you know? Yes. So this book really talks a lot about that too. And, not making a pageant goal like my identity, because then it all comes crumbling down. It all comes crumbling down at some point. And it's good to have goals, but you can't make that goal your identity, your idol. You've got to just remember, put things in reverse. Okay, why am I doing this?
Yes.
Like, this is not the end all be all.
Yes. There was a football player that taught me, he said, football is what I do, but it's not who I am. And I was like, whoa. And I remember in the highlight of my dance career, I was like, I felt the same way. Like, I love to dance, but I'm not going to be 90 years old dancing professionally. I'm gonna be dancing in my kitchen. You know what I mean? Cooking something.
I know you will. I know you will too.
You know I will. But it's not gonna be on that like professional level. And so even when I shifted my career into now hosting and building my career and my business, Limitless Legends, it's been an interesting shift, because initially I'm like, well, who is Jenny without dance? And then I was like, well, I don't have to be without dance. Dance is always a part of me, right? It's how I move. It's my communication, and it will always be that. But it's just not my profession right now. And that's okay. Yeah. But it did help me breed confidence on a whole other level. Yeah. So like my accomplishments, I'm proud of them. I celebrate them. And it's helped me stand in this like confident, divine, powerful woman essence, because I was able to set a goal and accomplish it. And my hard work paid off. And you're like, I did that.
I can do it again.
Right. But now it can be in a different passion. It can be in a different purpose. Yeah. Right. And that's the thing when we speak about passion and purpose. And that was the biggest thing I gained from the book. And that's why I want to talk about it a lot, is because our passions and our purpose can shift. People think today, like, my passion is this, and tomorrow you can discover something else. And that's the beauty. We can have multiple passions. And for me, one thing I learned is like, having your passion lead you to your purpose. So my passion was dance, but then I realized one of the things I loved was being on stage and connecting with the energy of people. So I'm like, wait, I love energy. Okay, well, let me enter spirituality and learn more about this. And I love developing communication skills with people. Yeah. And now I love storytelling. So let's tell stories in a way that's going to impact people, right? And so it's all cohesively, when you look at it from a bird's eye view, the same thing, just through different platforms, right?
And you don't have to fit in a box either. Exactly. You don't have to put yourself in one box.
Exactly.
You can do it all.
I always say my boxes, there's a little thing that says other, and I put limitless, and then I check it. I'm all the things, baby. I'm all the things. Yeah. Because
I feel like Limitless Legends is all about your purpose. It's all about what you are, what fuels your fire,
Yeah. And it's that.
You're all about it.
I am. But what I appreciate about the both of us is, as we're both sitting here, we are women who are walking in our purpose. There's a difference between talking about it and then not executing, but we talk about it and we are about it. Yeah. And to me, it's just so powerful, because I love being around women and men too that are like this, because all of us collectively, if everybody stood for what they were passionate about, all the passions would overlap and everything would be taken care of.
Right. And this book talks about it all the time. You know, it talks about how we have these specific desires and passions to do something because all of us together fit in, the pieces fit together into what it's supposed to be and what God's plan and purpose is for the community and in relationship with one another and all of things. It's everything fits together. There's a reason behind everything.
It does.
So
how do you have confidence?
I'm a pretty confident person. I'm like trying to put into words how I have confidence. I think it's just knowing who I am, knowing who my identity is, like we talked about. My mom and my parents, my mom and dad, they both really raised me to be confident and to know that I was beautiful inside and out. They told me all the time, over and over and over. And my mom always said, and she tells my friends now, she's like, well, maybe I'll take it back now. But she said, I would rather her have a big head and like really just like tell her over and over how beautiful she is and her be confident. She said it's easier to fix someone being vain than to fix someone who's self-conscious, because you have low self-esteem. You can never fix that. And it's true. It really is true. I'm a little vain sometimes. I will say I can be a little, but they really instilled that in me. So I really, can give my parents the credit for that. But as I get older, it's just been confidence in my identity and who I am. And it's not the things that I do. It's, my purpose with God and who he created me to be has made me confident. And I think that's why I just, when we were talking earlier about rejection in the modeling industry and just I kept knocking down the door, kept forcing my way in. I just really don't care what other people think about me. And that's really, I think that's a personality thing because not everyone has that. And I've just always been that way. I really don't care what people have to say, unless if the only thing that really like hurts me in that way, like with comments, is if you like take a shot at my character. That's when I'm like, but if you can tell me I'm ugly and sure all day, like I don't care. Yeah, I really don't. Yeah. I know I'm cute. Okay,
you
like,
cute, you cute, boo. You cute, you cute, you cute.
Like there's a lot of women are like you always. I admire other women. I think some girls. I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish I looked like her. I think like that too, and like it's in a healthy way though.
Yes, you can admire another woman's beauty.
I don't have 100%. To be like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, her beauty means that I don't
Someone
shine.
Online
no, we both shine.
Ugly. I'm so ugly.
Yeah,
no,
and they're speaking from their own insecurities.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think it's a personality trait, but all in all, it's like knowing who I am, knowing my identity is what gives me that confidence.
Do you have a favorite takeaway from this book?
It's hard because I love the whole thing. I love the whole thing. I think my takeaway, it's a Bible verse, and the Bible verse says, the Lord will give you the desires of your heart. And I think that's such a cool verse because it's like, okay, the desires that I have for the things that I want to do, whether it's modeling or relating to other people or just all of those desires didn't just come out of nowhere. God gave those to me for a divine purpose, for a divine reason. And that's my favorite one of my favorite Bible verses, and it's in this book. It talks about it a lot, and I think that's where I actually took it from. And I actually write it on my vision board every year, that Bible verse.
Let's go. Yes.
It puts like perspective behind everything, and there's a reason why you want certain things, as long as that you got to check the posture of your heart and why you want to do certain things. Make sure that it's not in vain, but it's for a purpose. Yes.
So to the listeners out there, make sure to follow your passions. This is your sign. If you were looking for like that big sign in your face, this is your sign to follow your passions, whatever it may be, regardless of what people tell you. If it's in your heart, trust it and lead with it. Yes. Boom. All right. Now we're going to get into a game.
Oh, okay. I'm nervous.
Don't be nervous. You're going to be good, girl. You're going to be good. All right. So it's called Mind Meld.
Mind Meld?
Yes.
That's like a tongue twister.
I know. Mind Meld. Mind Meld. I don't even know. I'm going to count to 3 and then we're going to say a word. And the goal is to get the word, to get us to say the same word.
Oh, I'm good at this.
Oh, you're good at this?
I'm good. I'm kind of a mind reader.
Okay, that's perfect. Okay, so we're just going to go for it. All right, you ready?
Okay, ready?
All right. 1, 2, 3, pink.
Caterpillar.
Okay. Caterpillar and pink. Now we have to find a word in between caterpillar and pink. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Watermelon.
Butterfly.
Okay. I almost said butterfly.
I know. This game, you have to trust your gut. You have to trust your gut.
I almost said butterfly. Okay.
Okay. So in between watermelon and butterfly. Okay.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Wait, I gotta think about this. I don't know what to say now. Okay.
Yes. 1, 2, 3.
Flower.
Garden. Okay. We're close. Yes.
Okay,
we're close.
Okay.
Okay. In between garden and flower.
Okay.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Tulips.
Okay. We're so close.
I didn't. I said tulips because I was thinking pink.
We're so close. We're so close.
Okay. Sorry, I'm messing up the whole thing.
This is the excitement. This is part of the excitement. Okay. A word between tulips and rose. Okay.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Dandelion.
Orchid. Oh, we're just like right there.
Okay.
Okay. A word between dandelion and what?
Orchid.
And orchid. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Sunflower.
Oh, so good.
Yes.
We needed to give each other a high five for that one. Wow, that was so good, Alison.
Oh my gosh. I was so close so many times.
We did that. That was good. We did that.
That was fun.
We did that. Thank you for being here, Alison. You have been such a joy. I just love you so much. And I can't wait for us to continue to build alongside each other.
I know.
Where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram, on the IG at Alison Bowles with 1 L. And Bowles is
1 L. That's
1 L.
Right.
And Bowles is Bowles. It's like pronounced like cereal bowls, but there's an E in there. And then sometimes people confuse it and they say bowels.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's LES, not ELS. Don't embarrass me. Every substitute teacher ever said that. I'm like, that's not how it's spelled.
I love it.
Instagram. I'm also on YouTube.
Cool.
So I feel like, my Instagram is, it's my job, my career, and I post everything, all my collabs, all my modeling, all of that stuff. But my YouTube is where you really get to know me.
Mm-hmm.
And I post all my travel vlogs and
I love it.
behind the scenes Fashion Week. You can see what everything really looks like and see all the shenanigans and me hyperventilating every 5 seconds, trying to do it all. But my YouTube is the same as my Instagram. Cool. It's Alison Bowles. So
awesome. Well, there you have it, friends. We just finished rapping with Alison Bowles. Isn't she amazing? I just love her. We discussed The Purpose-Driven Life, What on Earth Am I Here For by Rick Warren. If you like this book, make sure to click the link in the description below and get your copy today. As always, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And comment your favorite part of today's episode. We want to hear from you. As always, turn the page, and we'll see you in the next one. Shout out to our sponsor, Local Cold Brew Coffee.